Welcome my dear learners for this course on operations research. In our module 2 we were discussing about linear programming problems. So far we have completed our discussion on simplex method and big M method or penalty approach. Now in today's lecture we are going to discuss the artificial variable technique or two-phase simplex method. Before approaching to solve the problem, let me explain you the steps to solve a given problem in two-phase technique. Whenever the problem is given to you, in case of two-phase method, the constraints will be of the form greater than or equal to signs. Whenever we have less than or equal to signs, we will be adding the slack variable. Whenever we have greater than or equal to sign, we will be subtracting the surplus. Therefore, we are introducing the artificial variable. Whenever you have is equal to sign, you should introduce the artificial variables only. This is what we have already learnt. That is, whenever we have the constraints as less than or equal to, we will be adding slack variable. Whenever we have the sign of the constraint as greater than or equal to, we will be subtracting the surplus. In addition, we will be adding the artificial variable. This is because of the reason, since surplus is negative, if I use the surplus variable in the basic variable position, then I won't get the identity matrix, thereby it is impossible for us to get the basic feasible solution. So therefore, we should always introduce artificial variable along with the surplus variable. That is, we should use surplus plus artificial variables. Whereas if you have equal to sign, you should add only artificial variable. So using these methods, we will be converting the given constraint into a set of linear equations. Using those linear equations and ensuring the RHS of the set of linear equations are positive, we can represent the given problem in its standard form. Now, in case of big M method, these are the various constraints which we are going to convert it into linear set of equations. But in case of big M method, the coefficient of artificial variable is given as minus m for maximization problem in the objective function. Whereas in case of two-phase technique, we will be dividing the total problem into two phases. In the first phase, we will be assigning the cost or the value for all the variables as 0 except the artificial variables. Only for the artificial variables, we will be assigning the cost or value of minus 1. Later, we will form the simplex table after representing the given problem in its standard form, and we will solve the problem as usual how we are solving the problem in simplex technique. That is, we will be determining the delta I. The largest delta I value will gives us the incoming vector, and the least minimum ratio of xp by xk will give us the outgoing vector. And we will follow the procedure until the delta I will become greater than or equal to 0. Once the delta I becomes greater than or equal to 0, we will be moving on to phase 2. Let me clearly explain the procedure to solve the problems in two-phase method. In phase 1, represent the given LPP in its standard form, which we have discussed in lecture 1 of this module 2, and assign the coefficient artificial variable as minus 1 and all other variables coefficient as 0. In the objective function. Very important. In a given problem, he will be giving the coefficient for the variables x1 and x2, but in phase 1 we should assign it as 0 and 0. Next, the very important procedure is that we will follow the simplex table procedure what we are solving for big A method as well as for simplex method, and we will continue the problem until we will get the value of delta I greater than or equal to 0. So in phase 1, the first step is that represent the given LPP in the standard form and assign the coefficient of artificial variable as -1 and all other variables coefficient as 0 in the objective function. Next, form the simplex table and follow the usual procedure until we get all the values of delta I greater than or equal to 0. So once we get the value of delta I greater than or equal to 0, we should check for 3 conditions. Condition number 1, the objective function max. Always remember, we'll be solving the problem for maximization. If it gives the problem as the minimization objective function, we should convert it into maximization problem and then we should solve it. Now, if Zmax is less than or equal to 0, that is negative, and at least one artificial variable is present in the basic variable column, problem has infeasible solution. What I mean to say is that we cannot find the solution for this problem. Next, moving on for next condition, that is the Zmax in the last table where delta I, all the values are greater than or equal to 0. If I have the value as Zmax greater than or equal to 0 and at least one artificial variable is present in the basic variable column, proceed to phase 2. So once you find that all the values of delta are greater than or equal to 0 and the value of Zmax is greater than or equal to 0, then we can proceed to phase 2. But if Zmax is less than or equal to 0, then we don't have the feasible solution for this problem. The problem will be having infeasible solution. Next, moving for the third condition to be checked is that, so once you obtain the stage where all the values of delta I are greater than or equal to 0 and Zmax is also greater than or equal to 0 and no artificial variable is present, basic variable column, then also proceed to phase 2. So this is the procedure you should follow for phase 1 in the two-phase simplex method. And now once you enter phase 2, that is when the delta I values are greater than or equal to 0 in the last step of phase 1 and also Zmax is greater than or equal to 0, then you should replace CB, that is coefficient of basic variable, by its original value. This is because of the reason in the phase 1 we will be assigning the coefficients of all other variables as 0 except for artificial variables. For artificial variables we will be assigning the value as -1, whereas for all other variables we will be assigning the coefficient as 0. So therefore, even though if I have the given variables, that is x1 and x2 also, I will be carrying the variable coefficients as 0 itself. So therefore, once the phase 1 ends, once you enter the phase 2, you should replace the CB by its original values. After that, you copy the coefficients of all the variables in linear equation from last step of phase 1. From the last step of phase 1, you should copy down the matrix from x1 till a1 or a2, that is the end of artificial variable, and enter it to the new matrix of phase 2. In phase 1, we will be entering it by representing the linear equations in the form of matrix form, and then we will take the A matrix of matrix form of constraint equations and placing it into the simplex table. Whereas here we will copy the coefficients of all the variables in linear equations, that is from x1 to a2, directly from the last step of phase 1 itself. So this will be clear once I solve our first problem. Just you take it as a face value and try to understand as much as possible. When I solve the first problem, you will be get clear with all the doubts what you are having right now. Next, calculate mu delta I here. When you are replacing the values of CB by its original value, you should also replace the values of CI also. Replace CB and CI. If you observe the previous 4 problems what we have solved, CB is the second column and CI is the 0th row, that is row above the first row, and above XB will be writing the CI, and above the variables will be writing their respective coefficients in the objective function. Here the coefficients are considered to be 0 except for artificial variables. So therefore in this step you should replace it by its original values. And also remove artificial variables. That is, in case of phase 2, we won't consider the artificial variable columns, because in rows we almost encounter the case 3, that is no artificial variable will be present once we find that the delta I is greater than or equal to 0. Therefore the artificial variable will be present only in the column, so therefore neglect those 2 columns and only you replace CB and CI from their original values, and also copy the coefficients of all the variables in linear equations, that is x1 to the slack variables from last step of phase 1. So this will be clear once I solve the problem. Next, calculate the new delta I by using the usual procedure, that is delta I is equal to Zi minus Ci. Solve until all the values of delta I are greater than or equal to 0, where the problem terminates, and you will be getting the values of x1, x2 and z max. So this is the procedure we should follow to solve problems on two-phase technique. Let me wait for a while so that you people copy down this, and in today's lecture we will be solving the first problem on two-phase method. The problem number 1 on two-phase method and the fifth problem of our discussion on linear programming problems states that solve the following problem by two-phase method. Minimize z is equal to 4x1 plus 2x2 subjected to 3x1 plus x2 greater than or equal to 27, x1 plus x2 greater than or equal to 21, and x1 and x2 are positive values. Just now I have explained, first we should formulate the auxiliary form of linear programming, that is assign the coefficients of the variables x1, x2, etc. as 0 in the objective function and the coefficient of artificial variable as -1, and always we should solve for maximization. Since he has given the objective function as minimization, I should convert it into maximization in the first step. So let me solve this problem. So coming for the solution, the auxiliary LPP will become, since I should maximize the objective function, that is for us the Z max will become, multiply negative signs on both sides, I will get it as minus Z, which is equal to minus 4x1 minus 2x2. But in case of phase 1, I should enter these coefficients as zeros. So if I enter these coefficients as zeros, so this is the objective function for us, the true objective function, whereas for phase 1, Z will be equal to 0x1 plus 0x2. Let me see the constraints subjected to 3x1 plus x2. Since we have greater than or equal to, I should introduce the surplus, therefore I should introduce the artificial also, will be equal to 27. So therefore the auxiliary LPP will become again plus 0s1, and always the artificial variable coefficient is -1, a1. Coming for the second constraint, we have x1 plus x2 minus s2 plus a2. This is because I am introducing the surplus variable 21. So therefore plus 0s2 minus 1 a2. So this is the first step what I said just now, that is assign the coefficient of all the variables as 0 except artificial variables whose coefficient are assigned as -1 in the phase 1. And the positive constraint states that x1, x2, s1, a1, s2, a2 are all positive, greater than or equal to 0. So this is the phase 1 where we have formulated the auxiliary LPP. So the auxiliary LPP is obtained by assigning the values as zeros for all other variables except artificial variables. For artificial variables, you should assign the coefficient as -1. Now formulating the auxiliary simplex table for phase 1, we know that the first column is always basic variable, the second column is CB, third column is XB, and then we will be having the variables. So now to represent the variables, first let us represent the linear set of equations which we have from the constraints given in matrix form. The variables are x1, x2, s1, a1, s2, and finally a2. From the first linear equation, the quotient of x1 is 3, x2 is 1, s1 is -1, a1 is 1, we don't have s2, we don't have a2. From second constraint, or from the second linear equation, quotient of x1 is 1, x2 is 1, we don't have s1, we don't have a1, coefficient of s2 is -1 and a2 is +1. So this is equal to xb, that is RHS, that is 27 and 21. So the variables are x1, x2, S1 A1 S2 A2. Now after that I should calculate the minimum ratio of xb by xk, and I should perform the row operations. So this is the heading for all the tables which we will be using. Above xp I should write it as ci, and the auxiliary coefficients for phase 1 are 0, 0, 0, -1 for artificial variable, 0 and -1 for artificial variable. Now the basic variables are always slack and artificial only. We should not use surplus variable as basic variable. So therefore we don't have any slack variables. We have artificial variables as A1 and A2. And finally I should calculate the value of z, which is equal to summation of CBXB. The coefficient of A1 is -1, the coefficient of A2 is also -1, and XB is 27 and 21. That is RHS of set of linear equations, and pick the coefficient of x1 to A2 from the matrix form, and placing it I will get the value as 3, 1, -1, 1, 0, 0, 1, 1, 0, 0, -1, 1. Now we know that we should calculate the value of delta I from x1 to A2. The formula for delta I is Zi minus Ci. So summation of CBXB is -1 into 27 is -27, -1 into 21 is -21. So therefore if I add, I will get the value as -48. Now coming for delta calculation, we know that the calculation of delta is equal to summation of CBXI minus Ci. So therefore if I calculate it for x1, I will get the value as -1 into 3 plus -1 into 1 minus Ci of x1 is 0. So therefore I will get the value as -3 minus 1 is -4. Similarly, if I calculate for x2, I will get the value as -1 into +1 plus -1 into +1 minus 0, which gives us the value as -2. So here I will get the value as -1 into -1 is +1, +1 plus 0 minus 0 is +1, -1 into 1 is -1 plus 0, minus of minus is +1, so -1 plus 1 will become 0. So here minus of minus is +1, here it will become 0. So now if you observe, the most negative value of delta E is -4, so therefore this will be the incoming vector. X1 is the incoming vector. Now to calculate the outgoing vector, I should calculate the minimum ratio of xb by xk. Now it will become xb by x1. So therefore it is 27 by 3 is 9. 21 by 1 is 21. So therefore the minimum ratio of xp by xk is 9. So therefore the outgoing vector is a1. If you want, you can show here also. from this it is clear that x1 is the incoming vector and a1 is the outgoing vector, and let me mark these rows as r1, r2 and r3. Now let us move on for second table of phase 1. Now moving for table 2, we have in the basic variable x1 is coming in and a1 is moving out and a2 is unaltered, and I should find the value of z. Now the key element for us is 3. 3 is the key element. First I should take this as the key row by making this key element as unity. So therefore the key row for us is r1 dash, which is equal to old r1 by 3. That I should calculate from xb to a2. So from here to here we will be performing the row operation. Now the coefficient of x1 is 0, the coefficient of a2 is -1. Now performing the row operation, 27 by 3 is 9, 3 by 3 is 1, that is what I require. Here I will get 1 by 3, minus 1 by 3, 1 by 3, 0 and 0. Now I should make this as 0. So therefore new R2, that is R2 dash, is equal to old R2 minus key row, that is R1 dash. I should make this also 0. So therefore R3 dash is equal to old R3 minus, sorry, I have minus 4 here. So therefore I should use plus 4 of key row. Key row is R1 dash. So if I do that, I will get 21 minus key value is 9. 21 minus 9 is equal to 12. 1 minus 1 is 0. 1 minus 1 by 3 is 2 by 3. Here I have 0. Here I have minus 1 by 3. It will become plus 1 by 3. Here I have 0. Here I have 1 by 3. It will become minus 1 by 3. Here I have minus 1. Here I have 0. It will become minus 1. Here I have 1, here I have 0, therefore it will become plus 1. Next, here I have minus 48, so minus 48 plus 4 times 9, so minus 48 plus 36 is minus 12. That is what I am getting from summation of CB XB. Now moving for minus 4, here I have 1. Minus 4 plus 4 will become 0, that is what I require. Here I have minus 2, here I have 1 by 3, that is minus 2 plus 4 by 3 will become minus 2 by 3. Here I have 1, here I have minus 1 by 3, so 1 minus 4 by 3, 1 minus 4 by 3 is minus 1 by 3. Here I have 0, here I have 1 by 3, it will become 4 by 3. Here I have 1, here I have 0, therefore it will become 1. 0 and 0 will give us the value as 0. So from this, the delta I, which is equal to Zi minus Ci, which we have calculated by row operation, and it is clear that minus 2 by 3 is the most negative, because minus 2 by 3 is minus 0.667, whereas minus 1 by 3 is minus 0.333. So calculating the outgoing vector, so therefore for us the incoming vector is x2. To find the outgoing vector, taking the ratio of xp by xk, that is xp by x2, so we'll get 9 divided by 1 by 3, which is equal to 27, and we have 12 divided by 2 by 3, which is equal to 36 by 2, which is nothing but 18. Among these two, 18 is the minimum, so therefore the outgoing vector is A2. So incoming vector is x2 and outgoing vector is A2. Now let us move on to table 3 of phase 1. For table 3 of phase 1, we have x1 unaltered, A2 is moving out and x2 is coming in, and we have z to be calculated. Now the coefficient of x1 is 0, the coefficient of x2 is also 0. Now the key row is row 2 and the key element is 2 by 3. So first I should make this key element as unity, therefore divide this entire row by 2 by 3. So I'll get row 2 double dash is equal to row 2 dash multiplied by 3 by 2. Thereby I can make this key element as unity. Now I should make these two as zeros. So therefore new row 1 r1 double dash is equal to old row 1 r1 dash minus 1 by 3 times the key row r2 double dash. Coming for r3 double dash, the old row r3 dash plus 2 by 3 times the key row, that is r2 double dash, which gives us these two values as zeros, based on which I have written the row operations. So now if I perform the row operation, I want the key row first, so therefore the key row will become 12 into 3 by 2, which is 6 into 3 is 18, 0 into anything is 0, will become 1 by 2 minus 1 by 2 minus 3 by 2 and 3 by 2. Now performing the operation, 9 minus 1 by 3rd of 18, that is 9 minus 6 will gives us the value as 3. Coming over here, I have 1, but here I have 0, therefore it will become 1. Coming over here, we have minus 1 by 3, minus 1 by 3 into 1 by 2. So therefore, minus 1 by 3 minus 1 by 3 into 1 by 2, which is minus 1 by 3 minus 1 by 6. So taking 6 as LCM, I will get minus 3 minus 1, it is minus 4 by 6. Coming over here, I will get it as plus 4 by 6. Next, here I have 0, but here I have minus 3 by 2. So therefore minus of minus is plus 1 by 2. Here I have 0, here I have plus 3 by 2, it will become minus 1 by 2. Next, here I have minus 12, here I have 18. So therefore, coming for row 3, minus 12 plus 2 by 3 times 18, which is equal to minus 12 plus 12, that is 0. That is what I will get from summation of CB XB also. Here I have 0, here I have 0, I will get it as 0. Here I have minus 1 by 3, here I have 1 by 2. So therefore, minus 1 by 3 plus 2 by 3 times 1 by 2. So I will get the value as 0. Here I have 4 by 3, here I have minus 1 by 2. So therefore 4 by 3 plus 2 by 3 times minus 1 by 2. I'll get 4 by 3 minus 1 by 3. I'll get the value as 1. Here I have 1, here I have minus 3 by 2. So therefore 1 plus 2 by 3 of minus 3 by 2, which is equal to 1 minus 1, 0. Here I have 0, here I have 3 by 2, I will get the value as plus 1. So this completes the table 3. If you clearly observe, all the values of delta I are greater than 0. The phase 1 terminates here because all the values of delta I are greater than 0 or greater than or equal to 0, and also Z max is equal to 0. We can proceed to phase 2 as we don't have artificial variable at all. So the solution is optimal. Let us move on to phase 2 now. Before moving on to phase 2, we have done a small error here. That is, I have written it as minus 4 by 6 and plus 4 by 6. It is minus 3 by 6 and plus 3 by 6. Correct it? So 3 by 6 is 1 by 2. Minus 3 by 6 is minus 1 by 2. So these two are corrected. It doesn't make any change in the solution what we have got. So write a note here. Since all the values of delta I are greater than or equal to 0 and Z max is equal to 0, the solution is optimal and we can move for phase 2. So moving for phase 2, we have x1 and x2 as the variables. As I clearly explained in the beginning of this lecture, I should take the actual coefficients of CB. The actual coefficients of x1 and x2 for Z max is minus 4 and minus 2. So therefore CB will become minus 4 and minus 2. Now copy down the values of the matrix from XB to S2 by eliminating A1 and A2. Since I want to eliminate the artificial variables, A1 and A2, eliminating the artificial variables from phase 2, copying down the matrix, that is from XB to S1, and the value of S2. So copying it, if I copy that, I will get the value as 3, 8, 1, 0, 0, 1, minus 1 by 2 plus 1 by 2, 1 by 2 and minus 3 by 2. This is what I have explained in the procedure to solve the two-phase technique. Now I should calculate the actual value of delta I. So we know the formula, delta I is equal to Zi minus Ci. Therefore, if I calculate Zi minus Ci from x1 to the end, that is calculating the value of delta I, minus 4 into 3 plus minus 2 into 18. Minus 2 into 18 will gives us 4 3s are 12. 12 plus 36 is minus 48. Now I should perform actual delta I, that is Zi minus Ci. For that I want the actual Ci. Actual Ci are minus 4 for x1, minus 2 for x2, 0 for s1 and 0 for s2. I have eliminated the artificial variable. Now if I calculate the actual calculation of delta I, that is minus 4 into 1 is plus 4, sorry, minus 4. Minus 4 plus 4 will become 0. Minus 2 plus 2 will become 0. Plus 2 minus 1 is plus 1. Minus 2 plus 3. Minus 2 plus 3 is plus 1. So if you clearly observe, all the values of delta I are positive. Therefore, this ends the problem and the answer is for Z, it is minus 48, x1 is 3 and x2 is 18. Since all the values of delta I are positive, the problem terminates and the solution for the problem is x1 is equal to 3, x2 is equal to 18. So therefore, Z minimum is plus 48 because Z max is minus 48, Z minimum will become plus 48. So plus 48, x1 is equal to 3, x2 is equal to 18 is the answer for this problem. So here we have used actual Ci and we have used the actual values of Cb. So we should use actual Ci and actual Cb and calculate the actual delta I by eliminating the artificial variables. Remaining thing should be copied from the previous step. And this is also calculated. Actual calculation. So this is the procedure to be followed to solve problems on two-phase method. So this is the solution for the given problem. That's all from this lecture. Thank you.